The first light of morning. Jasmine woke to the shrill sound of her morning alarm. She tried to linger in bed for a few more minutes, but finally sat up, rubbing her eyes. In the darkness of her bedroom, under the dim glow of an old desk lamp, she got out of bed with the anxiety of starting a new day. It was exactly 6 o'clock. Today, she would begin her first day at the cleaning department of the big company where she'd applied for her first serious job interview. At 28, Jasmine had never lived the life she'd dreamed of. She grew up in a small house in Fresno, California, with her mother. Her mother was a woman struggling with a tough work life and constant unhappiness, and Jasmine had shouldered big responsibilities from a young age. To help ease her family's financial burdens, she worked several jobs after school, but life had never given her a break. Still, she had no choice but to keep fighting to survive. Finally, she seized a job opportunity that took her to the heart of California, San Francisco. Today, she was starting at the cleaning department of a major company. Jasmine's heart was pounding, because this job felt like a way out for her. But she knew it was a role that started at the very bottom. With the hope of finding some peace, she could shape her life by doing small tasks. She slipped into a blue uniform, put on her shoes, and stepped outside. San Francisco's morning traffic was always heavy, but she'd made this journey many times before. California's towering skyscrapers glimmered in the first light of dawn, but to Jasmine, everything felt the same. There was sadness and disappointment in her eyes. She longed to fill the emptiness inside her with the lives of others. The Night Group offices, San Francisco. When she stepped inside, her eyes were immediately met with the massive building. The Night Group's offices were striking with their luxurious design and modern architecture. As she entered, she had to tilt her head back to look up. The ceilings were so high and expansive that they made a person feel tiny. This was the kind of world Jasmine had dreamed of, but never thought she could belong to. Glass walls, corridors adorned with modern art, silver-gleaming staircases, offices, and desks. Everything was dazzling. In this environment, where many employees were dressed impeccably, Jasmine's blue uniform suddenly felt utterly plain and faded. Still, she clung to her work uniform and tried to focus on her job. This position would provide her with a stable income, and for now, that was enough. "Hello, are you new?" came an older but warm voice. Maria, the supervisor of the cleaning department, stood before Jasmine. The woman, with white hair that betrayed her age but a reassuring smile, welcomed her. "Yes, it's my first day," Jasmine said, a mix of excitement and nervousness in her voice. "Come with me, I'll show you your tasks," Maria said. Jasmine followed her, heading toward the first area she'd be cleaning, the CEO's office. As the days passed, Jasmine began cleaning every corner of the offices. But after spending her mornings there, something started to pique her curiosity more and more. The company's CEO, Sebastian Knight. Sebastian was the founder and leader of the company. At 42, he was known as a cold and distant man. Everyone feared him, even avoiding eye contact with him. Jasmine hadn't heard much about him while cleaning the offices each morning. But no matter how curious she grew, the floor where Sebastian worked remained a mysterious domain. No one knew what went on behind the closed doors of his office. One morning, one of the rooms Jasmine was assigned to clean was the CEO's office. Sunlight streamed through the large glass windows, illuminating the room as everything on the desk gleamed. Jasmine carefully began wiping down the desk. A file sat on the edge of the table. Lost in thought, she didn't notice it slip. Suddenly, the file fell to the floor. "Oh!" Jasmine's hands trembled as she picked it up, a little scared. The file contained details of an important business deal, and if anything happened to it, it could cause major trouble. As she hurriedly gathered it, she looked up. Sebastian Knight stood in the doorway, watching the file in Jasmine's hands. His eyes were intently focused on her movements. "Did something happen?" he asked, his voice calm but sharp. Jasmine froze. His gaze made her feel as though she'd stepped into an entirely different world. "No, I think I just dropped the file," she said, nervous but trying to stay composed. Sebastian took a deep breath. "What worries me isn't the file's contents, it's that you noticed it. You need to be more careful in this job." Jasmine was struck by his gaze. He was a CEO, a titan of the business world. She was just a cleaner. But in that moment, his His look felt like a turning point in her life. Sebastian paused for a moment, then continued. Still, considering what you're trying to achieve, it's interesting to see someone like you here. Jasmine felt her heart race. The company's CEO was noticing her. This was something she'd never experienced before in her life. The first conversation. In that moment, Jasmine realized this encounter wasn't just a fleeting coincidence. Perhaps it was the start of the greatest opportunity of her life. After a brief pause, Sebastian continued. How about a cup of tea? After spending this much time here, we could chat a bit. Jasmine's eyes widened in shock. She'd only ever observed while cleaning, but now here she was, talking to the CEO. Perhaps at the beginning of an opportunity that could change her life. Drinking tea. Though Jasmine looked at Sebastian's tea offer with surprise, she accepted it without hesitation. After all, an opportunity had arisen. The CEO had noticed her, a cleaner, and still seemed to value her. Jasmine realized how strange it felt to capture someone's attention so fully. The tea break might seem like it would last only a few minutes, but could even this short time change her life? Sebastian invited Jasmine to a small but elegant seating area in the corner of his office. They settled around a table. On one side, large glass walls offered a view outside, while on the other, an impressive bookshelf adorned the room. Jasmine noticed the luxury around her, but her eyes remained focused on Sebastian's words. I said you need to be careful because this office is a very important place for me, Sebastian said in a calm tone. Everything here represents the company's future. But as a cleaner, your attentiveness is truly commendable. Jasmine listened without taking her eyes off him, slightly taken aback. Yes, of course. I try to do my very best. I work hard because this job means a lot to me. Sebastian paused. As he saw the determination in Jasmine's eyes, he felt something intriguing. Her sincerity in performing what many would consider a mundane cleaning job was something he couldn't overlook. Most people dismissed or overlooked jobs like hers, but Jasmine approached every task with respect and resolve. That was exactly what piqued Sebastian's interest. In Jasmine's eyes, there wasn't just loyalty to her work. There was also a kind of lostness. He could see someone trying to set a goal in life, but not yet reaching it, filling an inner void by pouring herself into her job. Sebastian took a sip of his tea calmly. So, why do you do this job? He asked, taking another sip. What does it really mean to you? Jasmine tensed at the question. No one had ever asked her something like that. Suddenly being forced to examine not just her job, but the depth of her life made her uneasy. Yet somehow she wanted to open up. Honestly, just to keep going, she said. I don't have any other choice. My mom and I were in a tough spot. She had health issues, and I worked to support her. Every day I tried to find another job, but it was all so hard. And now here I am. As Sebastian listened to her story, he felt a growing respect for her. Someone who could face their struggles and pains so candidly was truly different. Yet he couldn't fully understand why he was so drawn to her. Many people might want her to stay just a cleaner, perhaps even him included, but he wanted to see Jasmine in a different light. An intriguing connection. After drinking tea, Sebastian relaxed a bit more. Jasmine's approach to the room, her meticulousness and sincerity while cleaning, showed him she wasn't an ordinary person. Moving with such determination at such a young age wasn't what he'd expected. He often thought success required high positions or a luxurious life, but Jasmine's simple yet resolute existence offered him a new perspective. What do you think it would be like to have an opportunity to change your life? Sebastian asked suddenly. Jasmine approached the question more cautiously this time. I don't know. I've never thought about having something like that. But maybe if I had a chance, I could get somewhere else. Whatever happens, I know I can achieve something by working hard. Sebastian gazed into Jasmine's eyes, lost in thought for a moment. Then he said, It's easy to see the potential in you, but for someone like you to find an opportunity, some might call it luck. But perhaps, sometimes luck comes to us at just the right moment. Jasmine took a deep breath. In that instant, she realized this conversation wasn't just about a job. It was a moment when she might feel valuable for the first time in her life. Sebastian's words instilled in her a confidence she'd never felt before. Another beginning. Sebastian stood quietly and returned to his computer. Jasmine stayed in her spot in the room, still listening to the unsaid. After all, this man had asked her the most important question of her life. Was there an opportunity to change it? At that moment, a spark began to ignite within Jasmine. This spark could be more than just a chance. It could be a guiding light. For the first time, she was on the verge of recognizing her own strength. After a stretch of silence, Sebastian looked up at her and said, "Thank you, Jasmine. Keep working. But don't forget, there's a way for everything here. Don't lose yourself." As Jasmine left the room, she glanced back at Sebastian and let out a deep breath. A brand new feeling stirred within her, hope. A new understanding. Jasmine felt different after her last conversation with Sebastian. The moment she entered his office and they spoke, she felt valued and seen for the first time in her life. The curiosity and admiration in Sebastian's eyes had given her more hope than ever before. Yet, the distance between them was still vast. He was a CEO, and she was just an ordinary cleaner. So, she tried to hide these thoughts and feelings. For the first few days, everything proceeded normally. Jasmine continued her cleaning duties with care, but now she couldn't help thinking of Sebastian with every step she took while tidying the office. His gaze and words kept circling in her mind. Meanwhile, Sebastian had begun to see Jasmine in a new light. The more he noticed how strong and determined she was, the more he wanted to talk to her and spend time with her. But the workplace hierarchy and class differences remained significant barriers to their connection. One day, unable to resist seeing her any longer, Sebastian decided to approach Jasmine again. This time, however, he chose a slightly different path. Sebastian's offer. Sebastian spotted Jasmine in another room on the office floor. He thought about how this woman, who somehow gave him strength, was overlooked by others every day. But today, an inner voice reminded him of this realization more clearly. He entered the room and found Jasmine cleaning. Even while working, she exuded a kind of peace. Sebastian approached the door, hesitated briefly, then interrupted her with his voice. "Jasmine," he said, his tone no longer as distant as before, more intimate and perhaps a little softer. "Can I talk to you for a second?" Jasmine looked up, meeting his gaze. Though she felt a moment of surprise, she wasn't worried. Sebastian genuinely had something to say to her. This might have been the first time someone who valued her had truly noticed her. "Of course, Sebastian. What would you like to talk about?" she replied, continuing her work. Sebastian paused to think. He was torn between the seriousness of the job and an impulse to bridge the gap between them. "I'd really like to get to know you better, Jasmine," he said, taking a step closer. "Someone like you having to work in a job like cleaning. It's really interesting. Maybe I could offer you an opportunity." Jasmine's eyes widened as she listened. At that moment, a spark of hope ignited within her. "An opportunity? What kind of opportunity?" Sebastian took a deep breath. "I know it's not easy to work in different positions, but I'd like to offer you a chance to join another department here. For a while, you'd handle some organizational tasks in the office. You'd assist me and show how capable you are in this role." Jasmine inhaled deeply. This seemed like an opportunity that could change her life. But at the same time, she couldn't stop herself from wondering, does Sebastian really believe in me? Or is this just a temporary fix? "Sebastian, you're serious about this, right?" she asked, still skeptical but also excited. Looking into her eyes, Sebastian said, "Yes. This opportunity is yours. If you accept, I can help you. But don't forget, I want to get to know you better, Jasmine. The determination in your eyes has impressed me." Jasmine felt her heart racing. This was a truly significant moment for her. But there was fear too. This opportunity could transform her entire life and offer her a fresh start. But was she ready? I accept," she said quietly. "I want another chance. A new beginning." After accepting, Jasmine stepped into the organizational role Sebastian had offered. At first, no one understood what she was doing there. Her coworkers questioned how a woman who knew how to clean could handle office tasks. But Jasmine devoted every moment to making the most of this opportunity. She began tackling her assigned duties with excellence. It was a new beginning, but it would also be a great test. Over time, Sebastian noticed Jasmine's success in her new role. Her determination, the way she handled life's challenges, and her hard work captivated him. Yet, an emotional tension was starting to build between these two people from vastly different worlds. Jasmine felt drawn to Sebastian while also enjoying being appreciated by him. Sebastian, on the other hand, struggled to understand his feelings for her even as he recognized her inner strength. A major change. As time passed, Jasmine became increasingly successful in her job. Her relationship with Sebastian deepened as well. However, there was more than just professional respect between them. Though Sebastian tried to hide his growing interest in Jasmine, she could sense something more in his eyes. But their relationship still faced its greatest obstacle: the class divide between them. Jasmine's inner fears and doubts made her more cautious with every step. Meanwhile, Sebastian wrestled with suppressing his feelings for her, fearing a misstep in the business world. Feelings slowly drawing near. Jasmine had grown accustomed to her office tasks. She arrived earlier in the mornings and stayed late into the evenings, trying to make every moment more productive. Sebastian showed her increasing support, giving her responsibilities that also reinforced her confidence. But beyond all this, their relationship was slowly taking on a different shape. Every time Sebastian saw Jasmine, he became more aware of his feelings for her. Her small but resolute glances, her determination, the deep story within her. Each day, these qualities grew more captivating to him. Yet, he knew he had to approach her carefully. Jasmine wasn't an easy person to reach. She was strong, guarded with her emotions, and their worlds were vastly different. Jasmine felt both drawn to Sebastian and hesitant to get closer. This conflict within her was growing stronger. She struggled to open up to him because she still felt that, as a cleaner, she could never be his equal. This internal dilemma was becoming an ever heavier burden with each passing day. One evening, Sebastian invited Jasmine to his office. When she entered, he was working at his computer, but something felt different. This time, an odd unease crept over Jasmine. Sebastian was looking at her from a closer distance than ever before. "Jasmine," he said, with a seriousness that differed from the previous evening. "I've been watching you lately. You're truly successful. You're invaluable to this company. But I need to tell you something." Jasmine felt her heart race. "What do you want to say?" she asked, her voice trembling slightly. Sebastian took a deep breath. "Everyone appreciates you. I do too. I appreciate you. But this appreciation keeps me from seeing you just as a colleague. No matter how much I try to suppress my feelings, I realize more each day that it's hard to see you as just anyone else." Jasmine listened without breaking eye contact. His words deepened the turmoil within her. Sebastian was now showing his interest more openly. But she didn't know how to respond. Sebastian was a CEO, and she was just a cleaner. The distance between them kept them apart. Jasmine's hesitation. Sebastian's words echoed in Jasmine's mind. As true as they might be, the attraction she felt toward him was the most complex emotion she'd ever experienced. Did she really want to get closer to Sebastian, or were the class differences and emotional distance pushing her away? "Sebastian, everything feels so complicated for me," she said, rubbing her eyes with her hands. "With you, it's all different. But I have to stay a cleaner. I don't have any other chance." Sebastian felt a lump in his throat at her words. "But I can see your worth, Jasmine. You're not just a woman who cleans. It's easy to see the potential, strength, and intelligence in you. I told you this because you deserve a chance. And I trust you." Jasmine bowed her head, her mind swirling with frantic thoughts. Sebastian's words instilled a powerful confidence in her, but at the same time, the attraction and challenges they brought intensified her fears. How could she respond to his interest when she didn't belong to his world? Boundaries and a moment of decision. For the next few days, Jasmine struggled to cope with these emotions. Her closeness to Sebastian opened a world she didn't recognize. Yet she knew that world wasn't hers. She couldn't define what she felt for him. The peace of being near him also turned into a deep fear. The constant worry that something might break and everything would fall apart gnawed at her. One evening, Jasmine found the courage to go to Sebastian. This time, the distance between them had closed by another step. Sebastian was used to seeing Jasmine alone in his office, but that night, something was different. There was a new light in his eyes. "Jasmine," he said slowly, "I want to ask you something. You've had a life filled with so much hardship. So, what does true happiness mean to you? After a moment of hesitation, Jasmine answered, True happiness might just be feeling loved. But for me, it used to be about chasing what I wanted most. Changing my life. If I really get a chance, I feel like things could change. A faint smile appeared in Sebastian's eyes. Then it's time to explore your chance. New beginnings. Jasmine fell into deep thought for a while after Sebastian's words. She felt she was on the verge of making the most important decision of her life. The interest, trust, and value Sebastian showed her went beyond everything she'd known. But she also knew that no matter how beautiful it was, it could all vanish easily. It seemed impossible for her to belong in the same world as such a powerful man. One evening, as Sebastian stood so close to her, Jasmine began to reflect on her own life. Perhaps his offer was more than just an opportunity. Maybe it was a chance to change her life. But she always held herself back. She wanted to get closer to Sebastian, to accept her feelings for him, yet she was afraid. No matter how strong she was, deep in her heart, there lingered a doubt. Sebastian approached her and said, Lately, the more I think about you, the more I want to get to know you. But it's important that you can trust me too. In Jasmine's eyes, there was something she couldn't answer without thinking. So, she simply nodded silently and looked at him. The weight of her emotions was stronger than every word spoken between them. While Jasmine couldn't suppress her feelings for Sebastian, she was also forced to question her future and her identity. A difficult decision. A week later, Jasmine agreed to meet Sebastian for dinner. They had both intended to say something, but the words they shared turned out to be far more than either had expected. At dinner, Sebastian approached Jasmine in a very different way. He had realized how special she was and how she'd become one of the most valuable people in his life. This stirred a mix of complicated emotions within him. Jasmine, he said after taking a sip of wine, I want to ask you something. Beyond everything, do you really believe in yourself? Jasmine hesitated at the question but then gathered her courage, looked into his eyes, and replied, Sometimes I want to believe. But sometimes I can't see the true value of the people who appreciate me in my life. Even if I think I believe in myself, I still feel like something's missing. Sebastian locked eyes with her and took a deep breath. Sometimes life's hardships can make a person lose faith in themselves. But the potential inside you is strong enough to overcome that. The more I get to know you, the more my belief in you grows. And everyone who meets you will see how special you are. Hearing Sebastian's words, Jasmine felt a rush of mixed emotions in her heart. On one hand, his interest and faith in her were transforming her into a different person. On the other, she realized how complex this relationship could be and that she'd need to take huge steps for everything to fall into place. Emotional conflicts and a meaningful step. Whether this relationship between Sebastian and Jasmine would spiral into an emotional void was a situation that wouldn't just affect them. It would impact those around them too. Other employees in the office observed Jasmine's unusually close connection with the CEO with curiosity. Yet, despite this, Jasmine couldn't hide her interest in Sebastian. To everyone else, their relationship seemed impossible. But what they felt for each other mattered far more than what others thought. One day, after a long day at the office, Sebastian offered Jasmine an opportunity to bring them closer. Jasmine, he said, I'm going to give you more responsibility. This is more than just my trust in you. It's also a chance for me to be closer to you. Jasmine, trying to hide all the emotions she felt for Sebastian, simply said, Thank you. But the unease within her wouldn't fade. Sebastian wasn't just giving her more work. He was also offering to spend more time together. Yet, no matter how brave she was, she had to face the challenges of this situation and their inner conflicts. A real change? As Jasmine's internal struggles in this relationship grew, a moment came when she had to make a real decision. Though she knew how strong her feelings and connection with Sebastian were, she still had doubts about where this relationship would lead. Sebastian sensed Jasmine's inner conflicts too. The more time he spent with her, the more he realized this relationship could bring significant change, for both of them and the company. But at the same time, the rapid pace of it all created a sense of genuine uncertainty for him. Finally, Jasmine began to listen to her inner voice and make a decision. Accepting her emotional bond with Sebastian on one hand, and fully stepping into his world on the other, wasn't easy. But one thing was certain. By forging a change in her own path, she had to confront not only Sebastian but also herself. Growing tension. The past few weeks had tangled Jasmine's thoughts into a complex web. Her feelings for Sebastian had given her a chance to understand herself, but that opportunity also pushed her into a deep questioning of her own life. Being with him wasn't just about love, it demanded an inner transformation. Was Jasmine ready to embrace that change? As she wrestled with her complicated emotions, Jasmine felt both the peace of earning Sebastian's trust and interest and the fear of losing her own identity. No matter how much she wanted to grow closer to him emotionally, there was a profound uncertainty about the cost of sustaining this relationship. She wondered how she could exist in Sebastian's world while preserving her strength and independence. One evening, as she left the office late, Sebastian called her over. Amid the dimmed lights of the office, they found themselves alone for a moment. Jasmine approached him nervously, noticing a different expression on Sebastian's face. They were so close, yet the distance between them felt more pronounced than ever. "Jasmine," Sebastian said, his hands resting on the edge of the desk. "You've changed a lot lately. I've noticed, but I need to ask you something. Do you really want this relationship?" Jasmine stayed silent for a long moment before answering. She took the question as an inquiry about how much she wanted to close the gap between them. But it carried a deeper meaning. This was a moment of decision, a choice that could change her life. Sebastian's expectation and Jasmine's dilemma. There was anticipation in Sebastian's eyes, but Jasmine struggled to decide. This relationship had transcended mere romance. Bridging the gap between them required both to confront their pasts. Jasmine wasn't sure of her response, gripped by the fear of losing control. "Sebastian," she said, her voice trembling slightly, "I don't know. I really don't know what to do. I think about our relationship, but stepping into your world might change who I am. And I don't want to lose myself." Hearing her words, Sebastian felt he understood her fears and uncertainties. "Jasmine, the more I get to know you, the more I see what a strong woman you are, not just at work, but in life. This relationship won't take you away from being you. But I want to walk this path with you, because I feel better when I'm with you." His words deepened Jasmine's inner turmoil. Sebastian's trust in her moved her profoundly, yet she questioned how she could belong in his world. Taking a step forward was a massive risk for both of them. Jasmine's moment of decision. One day, as she entered Sebastian's office, the uncertainty in Jasmine's mind was more evident than ever. She felt that today, everything needed to come to a head. She had to clarify her feelings, for herself and for Sebastian. Sebastian was waiting for her in his office, but this time the atmosphere felt different. Unlike their previous meetings or dinners, this moment demanded a serious decision. Noticing the shift in Jasmine's demeanor, Sebastian approached her and said, "We need to talk about this." Jasmine's heart raced as she took a deep breath. "Sebastian, I love you. But this isn't just about being with you. Being with you in this world means rebuilding everything. That takes so much from me. And I don't want to lose anyone, especially myself." Sebastian grew calm at her words. He wanted to take things further with her, but he also recognized how delicate she was. "Jasmine," he said, "I don't want to overwhelm you by sharing this with you. I want to do this at your pace, when you're ready. But my trust in you, my admiration for you, my love for you, they won't change. It's all in your hands." The power of love and transformation. That night was Jasmine's moment of decision. The step she took forward would spark not just a change with Sebastian, but a transformation in her own life. Her relationship with him had revealed a different side of life, while also allowing her to rebuild her identity. As she stepped toward Sebastian, Jasmine felt an inner strength. "The only thing that matters to me is being my true self. I can't be someone else. But when I'm with you, I feel more like me." Hearing her words, a proud expression flickered in Sebastian's eyes. "Then be by my side as your true self. I want to be with you and see the most authentic version of you." And in that moment, Jasmine decided, from the deepest part of her heart, to accept this relationship as it was. As they grew to know each other, they would evolve and transform. But this required not just their connection, it demanded an inner journey for both of them. Rising together. Jasmine had finally decided to take an emotional step forward in her relationship with Sebastian. However, this choice wasn't limited to the bond between them. Her life was no longer just a personal journey. A significant transformation was also beginning in her professional world. Sebastian's interest, trust, and the opportunities he offered were opening doors to a realm of the business world Jasmine had never experienced before. Sebastian didn't just give Jasmine more responsibilities. He also began mentoring her. Her intelligence and determination caught the attention of some key figures in the company's upper echelons. But adapting to this new role was more complex than ever. She was no longer just a cleaner. She had become one of the company's most valuable employees. One morning, as Jasmine prepared for her first major presentation at the office, she felt a mix of excitement and anxiety. All eyes would be on her, and everything had to go perfectly. One thing was certain. She didn't want to crown this opportunity Sebastian had given her with failure. Sebastian was present in the room where the presentation took place. Jasmine's heart pounded, but everyone in the room noticed her passion and preparation. Every word she spoke was filled with confidence. When her eyes met Sebastian's, she felt a momentary wave of relief. He smiled at her. That smile erased all her worries in an instant. Hidden truths. However, Jasmine's positive changes in life had drawn attention from others. Her rise sparked jealousy and prejudice among some in the office. Certain employees began gossiping that Jasmine was Sebastian's favorite. No matter how hard she worked, dealing with this was a struggle for her. One evening, while working in Sebastian's office, she overheard harsh words from some coworkers. "Don't try to put yourself so high up. You're catching Sebastian's eye, but we'll see what your real talent is," a voice sneered from behind her. In that moment, an internal battle for power began within Jasmine. To earn her true place in this world, it wouldn't just take talent. It would require a strong stance. Sebastian knew Jasmine was aware of these challenges and had the strength to overcome them. But she needed more help to handle the office gossip. One day, catching her alone, he said, "Just do what's right, Jasmine. Follow your own path and don't let what others say get to you." His words gave her strength on one hand, but they also left a question mark in her mind. Did she truly trust Sebastian? Did she really feel everything was heading in the right direction? The fine line between love and independence. Jasmine had to balance her relationship with both her professional and personal life. Though Sebastian supported her, she struggled to maintain equilibrium between her emotional connection to him and preserving her own identity. One day, alone with Sebastian in the office, Jasmine gathered her courage and said, "Sebastian, my relationship with you is changing me. But sometimes that change scares me. When I take a step forward, I look back and fear losing who I am. What will my own identity, my own worth be?" Sebastian fell silent for a moment after hearing her question. Then he replied, "I'm so glad you realize this, because your identity is your strength. What makes you you isn't what I think or say. In this relationship, I'll be by your side, but you have to believe in who you are. This is your journey, Jasmine. I'm just a part of it." Jasmine drew strength from his words, yet a lingering uncertainty remained. She still couldn't fully suppress her worries about the future by stepping back. Moving forward added profound meaning not just to Sebastian, but to her own life as well. Converging paths and a step toward the future. The following week, Jasmine received an offer related to her work. She was given the chance to lead a significant company project. However, this project would require her to battle not only professional challenges, but also the office rumors. She had to prove her worth, not just with Sebastian's help, but through her own strength. Sebastian saw how excited Jasmine was about this offer. He realized she needed support not just professionally, but emotionally as well. "Jasmine," he said, "I'm so proud of you for this project. But remember, it's all about the potential within you. This project will propel you forward, not just in the business world, but in your own world too." Hearing this, Jasmine thanked Sebastian from the bottom of her heart. But she knew that, ultimately, she had to take the biggest step in her inner journey. This project was a test, but also a space where she could discover her true identity, outcome, and a new direction. As Jasmine prepared for the company's major project, she took each step with care. She didn't see Sebastian's support as mere assistance. It was a testament to his trust in her. More importantly, she was finally beginning to embrace her own value, identity, and potential. One day, when the project's results were announced, Jasmine and Sebastian exchanged a look. This wasn't just a professional triumph. It was a turning point in both their lives. Jasmine had accepted her own journey. She was no longer just a cleaner. She was a strong woman in control of her life. And in her relationship with Sebastian, they could move forward not just as two people, but as two individuals growing together. Jasmine's rise. Jasmine's leadership in the company's new project had given her not only a foothold in the business world, but also a chance to rediscover her inner strength. The steps she took forward grew more solid with each passing day. Her colleagues admired her work ethic and appreciated her talents. Yet, within Jasmine, some questions lingered. Achieving success wasn't always fulfilling. For her, what mattered most was finding inner peace and embracing that success without losing her identity. One day, she met with Sebastian in his office. Jasmine had successfully completed the project she'd started weeks earlier, earning praise from the company's top executives. But amid the congratulations, she began to feel an emptiness. Many people acknowledged her accomplishments, but she couldn't find satisfaction. Sebastian noticed the uncertainty in her eyes. "This success isn't making you happy, is it?" he asked. Jasmine responded with a deep sigh. "I don't know. So many people appreciate my achievements, but it feels like something's still missing. There's an emptiness inside me. I've risen so high, but I don't really know who I am." As Sebastian approached her, trying to understand her emotional turmoil, he said, "Maybe from the outside everything looks perfect, but that inner emptiness is pulling you somewhere else. Perhaps it's time to discover your identity, to find true peace." Jasmine looked at him carefully. "I've always felt like someone else. But that was never the real me. People see me as something, but I don't fully know who I am. I don't want to lose anyone, but I'm afraid of losing myself." Sebastian recognized the emotional depth in her words. Though he'd played a significant role in her transformation into a strong woman, Jasmine's journey was not just professional. It was a spiritual exploration. Jasmine, finding your identity means embracing everything that makes you you. But remember, this journey is a process. You'll learn more as you go. You don't need to lose yourself. As you remember who you are, you'll decide who you truly want to be. Jasmine felt a deep relief from his words, but the emptiness inside her hadn't fully dissipated. She realized that while trying to prove something to herself, she'd forgotten her inner journey. Now, this journey would be completed not just with professional success, but by accepting and celebrating her identity. Inner transformation and a true decision. When Jasmine took her first step toward finding herself, the support she received from Sebastian gave her profound inner courage. However, the dynamic of their relationship was shifting. Though they were very close, they had both felt an emotional distance for a while. This distance was a reflection of Jasmine's inner journey, but it also raised a deep question for Sebastian about his feelings for her. One evening, while having dinner together, Sebastian finally found the courage to address his uncertainties. "Jasmine," he said, "I've been watching you for a while, and the more I get to know you, the more respect I have for you. But now, I really want to see what you want. Where is this relationship heading for us?" Hearing this, Jasmine felt her heart race. Her feelings for Sebastian were still strong, but her attachment to him had become not just emotional, but tied to her identity. In that moment, she accepted letting go of the cleaner she once was. She wasn't that person anymore. And this realization affected her relationship with Sebastian too. "Sebastian," she said, "I owe you so much. Being with you has taught me a lot, but it's also helped me understand who I am. This relationship means so much to me, but now I feel everything needs to be real. I don't want to lose anyone, not even you. But I also need to take a step to avoid losing myself." Sebastian took a deep breath after her words. He truly wanted this relationship, but he was aware of his responsibility toward Jasmine's journey. "Jasmine, I love you, and I cherish every moment we spend together. But being with you means accepting you as you are. Being with you means getting to know you better." They fell silent for a while. That moment was a turning point in their relationship. Both stood on the brink of a significant decision in their inner journeys. Jasmine decided to look at Sebastian with inner peace, trusting that everything would fall into place and their relationship would be authentic. Now, it wasn't just about love. It was built on identity and freedom. A new direction, the future and walking together. In the days that followed, Jasmine and Sebastian's relationship took on a new dimension. They trusted each other more and embraced each other's changes. Jasmine continued to explore her inner strength and potential. She took pride not only in her professional achievements, but also in her identity. Watching Jasmine's journey, Sebastian's admiration for her grew. By her side was a person growing not just professionally, but personally as well. For Sebastian, this relationship became a path of mutual growth and support. They complemented each other's shortcomings and illuminated each other's journeys. They didn't yet know what the future held, but one thing was certain. Together, they could overcome any challenge. Jasmine was stepping toward a new beginning, not just in the business world, but in her life. And this journey would make her both a strong woman and someone who never lost her love for Sebastian. On the edge of challenges. As Jasmine deepened her relationship with Sebastian, she had also taken a significant step in her professional life. She had become the leader of one of the company's most important projects. However, the unrest within her persisted. The gossip within the company and the prejudices against her were affecting her state of mind. As her job grew, so did her responsibilities. On one hand, there was Sebastian's support. On the other, the fear of being alone began to strain Jasmine's emotional balance. One day, during a lunch break at the office, Jasmine retreated to a quiet corner to reflect on her unease. A question lingered in her mind. Can I really handle such a huge responsibility? What if I fail? One morning, a member of the company's board organized a special meeting to celebrate Jasmine's success. In this meeting, she was offered an even greater responsibility. However, Jasmine felt a pang of fear about this proposal. The fear of failure. The effort to prove herself and gain external validation no longer brought her peace. When Sebastian noticed the burden weighing on Jasmine, he approached her and said, "I know you're carrying a heavy load. But remember, you can lighten that burden by recalling who you are and what you've achieved. No one expects you to fail, but what matters most is learning how to cope with this weight for yourself." Jasmine drew strength from Sebastian's words, yet a void remained within her. She was determined to face her burdens and fears, but she wasn't sure how long she could endure. Constantly questioning herself and her place in the business world created a conflict in her heart. Disagreement with Sebastian. Though Jasmine and Sebastian's relationship deepened over time, the challenges they faced together fostered a greater understanding between them. However, one evening, during a conversation about Sebastian's new projects at the company, Jasmine's pent-up frustration erupted. "Sebastian, everything with you is wonderful, but I need to move forward on my own path. You've given me so much, but I still feel like I'm losing myself. I don't want to take on more of these projects. I want to do something else, to find my own identity," Jasmine said, her voice tinged with both sadness and resolve. Sebastian was taken aback by her words, but tried to understand her feelings. "Jasmine, this is your journey, and if these projects are taking you somewhere you don't want to go, I won't force you. But I want to help you and be by your side. Please don't forget that you're not alone." This conversation profoundly affected Jasmine. Sebastian's support gave her emotional strength, yet it also brought them to a point of divergence in their relationship. Jasmine realized she didn't have to be alone in her journey to find herself in the professional world, but she needed to take a step toward discovering her own identity. A difficult decision. The following week, Jasmine faced a crucial decision. She had been offered the chance to lead one of the company's new projects, which would be the greatest responsibility of her career. Sebastian offered his support, but Jasmine now wanted to embark on a new journey in her professional life to find herself. "Sebastian," she said, "I'm not accepting this project. I need to find my inner journey. Success shouldn't be measured by external rewards, but by my own peace." Sebastian had to accept Jasmine's decision. "This is your journey, Jasmine. I love you, and I support you in making this choice." A new beginning. Jasmine's decision marked a turning point in her life. Turning down the prestigious project offered by the company symbolized her acceptance of her inner strength and identity. She now wanted to forge her own path, free from the pressures of external success. This choice not only granted her professional freedom, but also brought a sense of personal relief. Jasmine began to trust in her own abilities and potential. Her emotional attachment to Sebastian no longer felt like dependency. It had evolved into a partnership. The respect and love they shared had strengthened their relationship. Now, come what may, Jasmine was determined to find the power within herself. The future with Sebastian. Sebastian respected Jasmine's decision. Watching her grow and discover her own identity both delighted and deeply moved him. They had become two people who grew alongside each other, constantly inspiring one another. Sebastian had learned to always support Jasmine, celebrating her independence and strength. One day, as they walked along the beach together, Sebastian looked at Jasmine and said, "I've always admired you, Jasmine. But now I truly know you. Your strength, your intelligence, the light within you. It's beyond everything. Walking with you, moving forward on this path together, is the greatest privilege of my life." Jasmine smiled at him. "And being with you has made everything more meaningful. We're together because we found each other. This journey has been shaped not just by successes, but by making peace with ourselves." They were both stepping into a new chapter of their lives. Jasmine had found her identity and embraced her inner peace. Her relationship with Sebastian was no longer just a romance between two people. It had transformed into a partnership where two individuals empowered and supported each other. Looking ahead, Jasmine knew who she truly was and took every step with that confidence. Jasmine's journey was a profound transformation, not just in her professional life, but emotionally and spiritually as well. The opportunities offered by the company, Sebastian's support, and most importantly, her own inner courage brought her true success. She now lived a life at peace with not only her career achievements, but also her inner tranquility and identity. Her relationship with Sebastian was an integral part of this journey. Together, they had overcome every challenge, come to know each other deeply, and truly empowered one another. Moving forward, they would continue their lives on their own paths, bolstered by each other's support. They learned what truly mattered: love, trust, and self-acceptance. This journey was a discovery for both Jasmine and Sebastian, but in the end, it converged at a point where everything felt right, and they had found each other.